Hey, everybody, and welcome to Common Good Conversations, a podcast creating deeper narratives at the intersection of faith and politics for the common good in West Michigan. My name is Nick Brock, and joining me is Shawn Skinner.
Good afternoon. I mean morning. Evening.
Yeah, it's still the morning. It's definitely not the evening. We are in our second record for this morning, so it is almost 10 o'clock.
Good to know. Well, it's probably 5 o'clock somewhere. Oh!
That is a song. It's a song by Alan Jackson, country song.
Is that
right?
Is that Alan?
5 o'clock somewhere.
That's not Alan Jackson.
Yeah, that's definitely an Alan. No, that's definitely an Alan Jackson song. You can Google that, Shawn, because I listened to that song too much on the radio when I was in my country listening days on B93.
I still don't have. I haven't had country listening days. I'm still in my metal stage. Sorry. And I've been there for 30 years and I'm happy with it. Don't try to change me.
That's all right. That 5 o'clock somewhere song.
I'm going to Google
probably
it
one
now.
of the worst songs. Yep. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere. Jimmy Buffett. It says it right there in Google.
Oh, it is. So it is with Jimmy. I think they sing it together. There's Jimmy Buffett and Alan Jackson. It has that whole kind of Jimmy Buffett country feel.
Yeah. We'll just say that I win. Shawn wins 1-0.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far. So how are you doing on the second half of the morning?
Oh, I'm doing good. I have very little of my monster left, so I imagine from here on out it's going to be downhill with the caffeine drop off and everything. So how about you with that black tar coffee you're drinking?
Well, you'll probably have your downhill slide, not just because of the caffeine, but because of all that sugar. So you got your sugar rush of, it's probably like 50 grams in that 20-ounce bottle, right? So you're going to kick it real high like some 8-year-old kid, and then you're just going to crash.
Okay, well, speaking of which, okay, let's see if I can get an answer on this from you. All right, so it does say that it is 58 grams of total sugar, and then just below that it says, added sugars 54 grams. So is that all of it in the total, or is that like the total of sugar and then total of like added sugar, putting us at 100? It says 108%.
108%. So
how do you get above 100% in something, by the way?
I don't know. Why are you asking me like I'm an expert on these labels? All I know is that there's more sugar in there. I think the added sugar is in addition to what is naturally in the ingredients for that. So like they're adding literal sugar, sucrose, right? You're going to find that on there, sucrose, something or another. And so there's these additions.
And a second ago, you just said, why am I asking you? And then you're throwing out big words like sucrose or however you pronounce that word.
Yeah, it's a scientific term for sugar in its different variations.
Okay. See, that's right. That is exactly why I asked you.
Mm-hmm. My degree in exercise science from Grand Valley State University is paying off on this podcast, at least.
Yeah, and Soda Talk.
In Soda Talk, yeah. And so, I'm on my second thing of black coffee. I had to rewarm it in the microwave, so now it's just hot black coffee, and it doesn't really taste very good.
Oh, well, it's nuked coffee.
Yeah, it doesn't ever do the coffee any justice.
And you enjoying that lozenger that you just cracked on?
Yeah, I mean, between records here, I got a big frog in my throat. So listener, if you hear me crack on something like a hard candy, that is a Ricola. Do you want to do it, Shawn?
Ricola
lozenger. So hopefully I can get through this program without coughing up a lung. But
listener, life is a challenge. Let's see if you can do it.
I know. These are all really first world problems. Listener, did you know that Marcia Mansoray is set to retire from the Ottawa County Health Department, and she will be running for office as a state to represent the 85th district as a state representative in the Michigan House.
I did not
So
know
Marcia
that.
Mansoray, what's that?
I said I did not know that.
Now you do know. Education is key to this program. Marcia Mansoray was one of the most recognizable faces in the battle between the Ottawa Impact majority on the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners and the Department of Health. She's retiring at the end of May, capping off a career that spanned the better part of 2 decades and running as a Democrat, though she had considered herself a longtime Republican before declaring for this office. As I mentioned, she is running for state rep in the 85th district, currently held by Republican Brad Slaw. Now, Mansoray said one reason for retirement is burnout after 4 years of COVID-19 and near constant tension with the county board. Mansoray commented on the situation, saying, quote, "While the county is currently not a healthy place to work, there has been a surprising silver lining for me. It pushed me to learn, to grow, to stand taller, and to dream of better things for our community." End quote. And commenting further, she said, "If Ottawa Impact hadn't been here, I wouldn't have been inspired to be a candidate. I would never even have considered it in my wildest dreams. I believe now is the time for me to be another courageous voice for the public's health and for public health workers on the front lines, for transparent state and local government, and for Ottawa County to be a welcoming place for all people to live, to raise a family, and to thrive." And I'll just underscore that piece, a welcoming place for all people to live, including our guest this morning, who we'll get to shortly. So that's an update in Ottawa County politics, and we'll be having Marcia Mansoray on the program in a forthcoming episode, and she will be with us at a live event, so you'll be able to get to hear a lot from her, as she has been kind of at the front lines of all of this. Shawn, that's our update.
Nicely done. Nicely done. You brought up the live event coming up, and we should do an invocation at the live event. I mean, why not?
We should totally do an invocation. God,
We can set aside 2.5 hours so we can get everybody under the sun. We'll line them up in a line, and everybody can do it, and we can each zone each other out.
Yeah, I can think of 3 people offhand. One of them we have this morning. We have a colleague of his who we've talked to before, and then we also have Jared Kramer, a friend of the program. So, man, we could totally make this happen. But what I think what would be even better, Shawn, is if you gave an invocation. Have you ever gave a public prayer in your life?
No. I've never been super religious. Well, I guess in this case, you don't have to be religious to do it. So, I mean, I could get up there and praise the bunnies, or my guitar, or I could do a heavy metal invocation to the throne of Judas Priest, or Dimmer Borgir, or Marilyn Manson, or if we did a Marilyn Manson one, I bet you we'd get some real crazies out, and with their little picket signs and.
This is sounding just better as we go. So you keep brainstorming about that, Shawn, and I think this will be a widely successful live event.
I'll take some notes on exactly how to prep for something like that. Just for the record, I am bluffing. I'm not going to follow through with it. So if you make a note, Nick, like Shawn's doing an invocation for heavy metal, and then we get there and you're like, so I got the microphone set up and I hope you got all your stuff. I'll be like, no, I'm chicken shitting out.
All right. You had the invite.
Maybe.
It's up for you. Up to you if you want to chicken shit out. But speaking of not chicken shitting out, let's introduce our guest today. So we have the privilege of being in conversation with lifelong resident of Ottawa County, the Reverend Cypher, minister of Satan and co-head of the Satanic Temple of West Michigan. The Reverend Cypher gave the invocation at the April 23rd Ottawa County Board of Commissioners meeting. And before we bring the Reverend Cypher onto this, I want to play the audio of his invocation. And I think this will help to set the table for us. I think it's just a lot more fun. So what I'm going to attempt to do is play this. And Shawn, if I have this worked out at all, like the last time, this will just go swimmingly. So it's a...
We'll see.
Mm-hmm,
see how good you are with all this cool technology stuff. Seems like every single week we're learning something new that we can't do.
Oh, but okay, here we go. I'm going to leave it right there. All right. So listener, this is a YouTube clip found on MLive, and this is about a 2.5 minute clip from the Reverend. And here we go. Let me get the audio. Loading.
Oh, are we getting commercial now?
Loading. No, it's loading. I don't subscribe to premium YouTube where you can download it. Let's
we're very lower class on this.
Working on it. If this doesn't go great, I'll just stop it. And then we could maybe do it in post.
Well, we do have the Reverend here live. We could make him do it again.
That would be excellent. You know what? I'm going to stop this share because it is loading like a mother.
Like a mother, huh? Next week is Mother's Day.
All right, enough of this. Stopping this. Lewis, you don't happen to have the invocation on you, do you?
It's all right up here.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Are you willing and able to give the invocation?
Certainly.
All right, sir. The floor is yours.
All right. So I'm going to start with the greeting that I gave before I went into the invocation, and it goes as follows. Greetings, my friends. My name is Cypher. I'm a lifelong resident of Ottawa County, as well as an ordained minister of Satan and the co-head of the Satanic Temple, West Michigan. Many of you are already familiar with my fellow co-head, Minister Bender Bones. Together, we represent the Satanic Temple, West Michigan. On behalf of our congregation, we wish to extend a loving embrace to all of our friends and family members, to our neighbors and fellow residents of Ottawa County, and to our Board of Commissioners for allowing us to be here today. It is with great humility that I stand before you to deliver the opening invocation this evening. So without further delay, I begin. Let us stand now, unbowed and unfettered by arcane doctrines, born of fearful minds in darkened times. Let us embrace the Luciferian impulse to eat of the tree of knowledge and dissipate are blissful and comforting delusions of old. Let us demand that individuals be judged for their concrete actions, not their fealty to arbitrary social norms and illusory categorizations. Let us reason our solutions with agnosticism in all things, holding fast only to that which is demonstrably true. Let us I apologize. Bear with me. I forgot the last line just now.
You're fine.
Yep.
You're fine. You're doing
Yep.
better than what Nick was
Apology
doing.
accepted.
What? Oh boy. It caught me right on the spot here. Now I threw myself off.
Line.
It's let us stand firm against any and all arbitrary authority that threatens the personal sovereignty of one or of all. That which will not bend must break, and that which can be destroyed by truth should never be spared its demise. It is done. Hail Satan. I do apologize for that minor screw up there. It kind of caught me right off guard.
You're fine.
No apology needed. I put you on the spot. So well done. If I was any better at this job, this being a podcast host, I would have told you beforehand to have it ready to go. So I'll fall on that sword. Oh man. So Lewis, again, thank you for joining us this morning. I wonder if you would walk us through that invocation. Like, what do those words mean to you, and what did you want to convey during your invocation?
Well, mostly the invocation. The invocation itself, first of all, was written, I believe, by Lucian Greaves, the executive minister and co-founder, one of the co-founders of the Satanic Temple. I'm talking about the much broader Satanic Temple religious movement. And so when we got the approval to do the opening invocation, we felt that that the invocation that he had essentially written up for use by other ordained ministers of the Satanic Temple was actually perfect in meeting all of the requirements set forth by the rules and guidelines of the invocation policy set forth by the Board of Commissioners. Additionally, the words themselves, they're meant to be more affirmational. It's meant to remind our local legislators and our, and the public and in all our government spaces that, though we are a religious community and we exist in a country full of a diversity of religions, that our government and our laws and institutions should be based on the best scientific understanding of our time and not anything that actually would follow a specific type of religious viewpoint. That is actually very much against our Constitution, to actually have government officials favoring one religious viewpoint over another. And so the invocation itself kind of makes a point of noting that that essentially government should be divorced from superstitious religion. Beyond that, it's just an affirmation for people to, again, judge others by their concrete actions, to, the whole line that says, let us embrace the Luciferian impulse to eat of the tree of knowledge. That's a calling for people to, metaphorically speaking, to actually use their common sense, use their reason when confronting topics that could either be culturally divisive or or things that, when it comes to forming our laws and institutions, that we pay special attention and keep in mind that, the community, the U.S. isn't just a Christian nation, but a pluralistic one in which our local legislators and our national legislators aren't just asked to I'm almost done here. I apologize. Aren't just asked to represent the Christians in our nations, but to represent everybody equally.
Well said.
Yeah. So, Lewis, I want to pick up on something that you said, and it had to be with speaking of like religious organizations or just like your religious organization. So there has been a lot of pushback or critique of the Satanic Temple of West Michigan giving an invocation, or just like giving public comment and saying that you're just doing this as a publicity stunt. Here we go again, Shawn, like saying that word publicity stunt, or what was it from the previous episode? Bad publicity.
No, I said there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, and how we cannot even say that, let alone 3 times fast. But it's
I said in the last episode 3 times fast. When you said that, you said say that 3 times fast. I said that.
Oh, so you're just like really super smart.
Yes, I appreciate the fact that you finally caught on to that.
But to this point, Lewis, of and I'll be more pointed on this. So the one of the Ottawa County Board Commissioners, Jacob Bonema, called the invocation a publicity stunt, saying, among other things, quote, "It seems that we are, as the board, we are unwittingly becoming entangled in a publicity stunt orchestrated by the Satanic Temple of West Michigan, known for their provocative tactics aimed at challenging established norms. It is time to put an end to this charade. We must rise above these juvenile antics and refocus our efforts on addressing the genuine needs of our community." And he continues on, "I am deeply troubled by this turn of events, as it represents a significant distraction from the essential work we have been elected to carry out. The Satanic Temple's actions are a waste of our valuable time with their frivolous antics." And this is the part that I want to place emphasis on, and this is me speaking. And the emphasis here is Commissioner Bonema says, they are not practicing religion. They are a group of unserious individuals resorting to cheap theatrics, and I am confident that the courts will see through their facade and publicity stunts. He's saying that he would challenge legally for religious freedom or religious liberty. Do you have any thoughts on that? And I'm sure you've heard it before. Like people say, well, no, you're not a religious organization at all, or you're out there to cause havoc. How would you respond to that?
So the first thing I would state is that we are very much indeed a religion. It just so happens that and I do want to make sure to say that I am speaking for myself and for the Satanic Temple West Michigan. If anyone wants to learn more about what the Satanic Temple religious movement, nationally speaking, is all about, they can actually go to the satanictemple.com. And under the Abouts tab, they can actually read up all about the Satanic Temple and even find a local congregation near their area. That being said, I do want to say that as far as the Satanic Temple West Michigan goes, we do take our religious philosophy extremely serious. Our religious identity is something that we all cherish and live our lives by. We try and live our lives to the best possible ability to to reflect the 7 tenets of the Satanic Temple. So we are very much a religion. It's just that our religion, especially within the Satanic Temple West Michigan, is one divorced of supernaturalism. So no, we're not such like a traditional religion, such as, maybe Commissioner Bonema may have been suggesting that, because we don't worship a literal Satan or don't believe in God or magic or, curses and spells and all this, in my opinion, nonsense, that because we don't believe in those things, that makes us unreligious. Well, that's just not necessarily the case. There are several religions outside of Satanism that have a very non-theistic approach to their religious philosophy. So it is completely inaccurate to say that we're not a religion and that our whole antics here was nothing more than a publicity stunt, because from the very beginning, the whole point of doing this invocation, right back to the point when Minister Bender Bones, my fellow co-head, a year ago stood in front of the Board of Commissioners in Ottawa County to say that we would be submitting a request to do an invocation. All the way back then, it was understood that we wanted to represent our religious community, and that means all the congregation members within the Satanic Temple West Michigan, especially those that reside in Ottawa County, that work in Ottawa County, that study here, that their kids go to school here, they have activities here. Like, we are very much a part of this community. For example, you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that I'm a lifelong resident, and I am. I went to school right here in Ottawa County. I for the first 20 years of my life, I attended a local, evangelical, well, technically a Pentecostal church. So we are, very much a part of this community, and we wanted to represent our community within West Michigan, especially in Ottawa County. And not only that, but to remind our local legislative officials that, again, they swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, which gives everyone the freedom and the right to practice whatever religion they want, however they wish to do so. And so us giving this invocation was in support of this religious pluralism that we actually have here in West Michigan. I'll end this statement by saying that, it's not just us Satanists from the Satanic Temple West Michigan that reside here. I work with predominantly, mostly Buddhists, from a Buddhist temple here in Ottawa County. I have Jewish friends. I have Muslim friends. Just the other day, I was walking. I was actually walking through downtown Holland because it's tulip time, so I like to come down here and check out the area. And I saw a group of Muslim women in their full garb, like that. That shows that we are very blatantly religiously pluralistic. And even though we have a Christian church around every corner, they're not all the same. Even they have varying degrees of religious philosophies. And so we are a very diverse community, and we wanted to, through our invocation, remind our local legislators that, again, they're not just here for the small sect of religious conservatives that essentially got them elected into office, that they're here to represent everyone equally.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Shawn, I want to get in a little rant before you queue up a question. So, Lewis, you mentioned the two Buddhist communities within the county. And, So I went to go visit those two Buddhist communities shortly after I had heard about Commissioner Lucy Ebel declaring that Jesus is Lord over Ottawa County. She made that declarative statement over this past summer while promoting and trying to dissuade talk about her recall election, which is coming up in a few weeks. But she said, Jesus is Lord over Ottawa County. And then those in support around her, up to 50 people, said the exact same thing. So then that statement was then supported by Joe Moss and Ottawa Impact, saying that, hey, we stand by Commissioner Ebel. She's a person of conviction. And we support that. And even the Ottawa GOP, has said, we stand by this. Jesus is Lord over Ottawa County. But my question, what had irked me the most is, well, okay, how does this rub off on those who are not a part of the Christian faith tradition, like those two Buddhist communities? So I went to those two, and I was able to speak with one of those faith communities, and I said, have you heard about this? Have you heard about these commissioners saying this? They had no idea. Did anybody talk to you about this? No. So it was really, I think that from what I was trying to get from them was just a point of view in saying, okay, how do you feel about this? Christian faith saying this is, we're declaring this for you, which they did not agree with. But just to this larger point where, there are other religious communities and within Ottawa County, and how we need to be open to that, and we need to have this separation of church and state, particularly at these government meetings. So that's my small rant or aside. Jesus is not Lord over Ottawa County if you're an elected official. You can say that in your church. You can say that if you're a person of faith. You can even make yard signs because they have people in Ottawa County do that. But you should not make that statement as an elected official. It is unconstitutional for those who have put you into office and who you represent. And I'm done. Shawn, do you have a question?
Well, I was just going to go back to Bonema a little bit on his comment and everything. I feel like, reading back through his comment a little bit, I think what he was trying to say a little through his comment is that that they shouldn't be doing mixing religion with the whole thing. And I think it's sounding like he's getting fed up with it. And whether or not he's disregarding, the Satanic Temple or whatnot, I think he's using that as a vessel mainly on going, if we don't want to have this type of stuff going on and we don't want to waste 2.5 hours of invocation and stuff like that and getting all this weird publicity and everything, we need to stop doing that and stop wasting time. Otherwise we can let anybody who wants to say anything come through the door and do an invocation. Is the way I kind of took his comment on that. And like I said, I think he was using the Satanic Temple as a vessel and that, as an example type thing. But I don't think he was necessarily saying, we need to keep it with one religion. I think he was more saying we just need to, leave religion out of it a little bit, because he left the meeting as well, didn't he, that day?
Yeah, he did. And if I agree that there should not be an invocation, I really feel that should be left out of government business. But what I think Commissioner Bonema and perhaps anybody who's thinking along those lines is that if you're going to point at somebody like the Satanic Temple of West Michigan and call them out for trying to be theatrical or trying to make a point through drama, well, you need to look in the mirror yourself, because it is in the reaction to the Satanic Temple was over the top.
That was the theatrics.
Totally. So, if you haven't seen the video yet, Google it, go on YouTube, watch the video of the April 23rd meeting. And Reverend Cypher, you were as stoic and as cool as a cucumber when Commissioner Bonema tried to interrupt the meeting. And then even after you gave the invocation, Commissioner Rebekah Curran walked down from the dais and was the first person to give public comment. And she, in my opinion, protested your invocation by giving another of her own in the name of Jesus. So, Lewis, I wonder how did you experience all of this while you were there? How did people respond to you? And I'm sure that you spoke with a few people, and perhaps you got a few, stink eyes.
Well, I would have to say that I probably didn't get as many as my fellow co-head minister Bender Bones. He's definitely the face that everyone was familiar with, so I do want to give him credit for keeping his cool as well, because as soon as he walked in the building, like we showed up and the building was already packed. Just packed, and as soon as he showed up, like the whole disruption, like it got loud, it got obnoxious. People started chanting, "We love Jesus." Like, they were just very adamant to make it known that, that in their view this was their space and we were encroaching upon it.
Is this held in a church?
No, this was held at the Ottawa County Administration Building in West Olive. It's over on the Fillmore Complex.
Oh,
gotcha. So it's, there's a lot of Ottawa County, departments in that area. And so that's normally where the commission meetings are held.
Hold on. I can't tell, Shawn, if you are being sarcastic or not. Are you?
Well, I guess you'll just have to find. I'm being. You said that they're saying that this is this is our holy place. I'm like, this ain't a church. This is a government building.
Right.
Just stand outside with your picket signs or something. But that was the whole reason. Earlier we were talking about there's no such thing as bad publicity, and I've told Nick this a couple times. If they were trying to discredit you guys, the best thing they could have done was just shut the hell up. Sit there, let you do the invocation, and then move on and just do the day. Because now there's so much. Now there's now it's a thing. And that's what I mean by there is no such thing as bad publicity. If they did anything, they helped you guys out.
Yeah, we kind of said as much amongst ourselves, amongst the leadership in our congregation, that like really this shouldn't have been that big a deal. And and what I mean by they is the, at the very least, the Christian protesters that were there in protest of us, that they're the ones that made this kind of a bigger issue than it had to be, and kind of got the whole publicity down. All we did was we posted a statement on some of our social spaces to inform our followers and our congregation members that this was happening, and from that moment on, this really did explode. It got big really fast, and it was actually kind of amazing just how distraught a lot of people are getting over this. And so you're absolutely right. I tell my friends and family and even my fellow congregants, that really, I have a lot of love, believe it or not, for the people who are assembling against us, because honestly, without any help from us, they actually gave us all the publicity that, we could have hoped to have. And so really, maybe, like you say, if they wouldn't have made it a big deal, this would have happened. We would have gone in, done our invocation, left, and most people probably wouldn't even have been aware that the Satanic Temple West Michigan did that. But instead, it became this.
How long would, if you had to guess, how long was your actual invocation? Like word to word, what you written down to actually say it?
So if you include the greeting, about 2.5 minutes.
Okay, so 2.5 minutes turned into 2.5 hours.
Yeah, when you got the petitioners going, yeah.
Yeah, so it could have been 2.5 minutes, and if they wanted to discredit you or not give you any publicity, they could have just gave you 2.5 minutes and talked amongst themselves later about whatever they felt or thought. But instead, they gave you 2.5 hours of a bunch of stuff, and and here we are talking about it a week later.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that. Maybe they should have these Christians in protest should have talked a little more amongst themselves. And I think that's kind of what they were doing and what they tried to do, because I want to just hit on this final reaction here, and then we'll move on, Lewis, to the actual work or what the Satanic Temple of West Michigan is all about. But I'm not going to attempt to play a video, but on the Facebook page, Satanic Temple West Michigan, from April 25, there was a video posted of people sitting in the overflow room at the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners meeting, because there was just not enough seating in the main room. So this larger room seats up to, 200 people who are watching the screen, and on that screen, the meeting is being live streamed. So then, Lewis, as you give the invocation, the people are waiting in anticipation. But as soon as that happens, one gentleman already standing starts to recite the Lord's Prayer, also known as the Our Father. So he starts praying that. Then another man up front stands up, checks his phone. I'm assuming he's coordinating with others, and then starts to protest and starts proselytizing in the name of Jesus. And then another man on the left with a suit and tie and, I believe, a Bible, starts Bible thumping everyone in the room. So then all of this chaos starts happening. We've got these Christian protesters protesting, and then the people in the room are saying, "Hey, shh, be quiet. We want to hear this." And then so much so that they had to bring in the sheriff, who was just out in the hallway to kind of calm things down. But what I found really interesting about this, Lewis, was your comment on the Facebook page. So you said, I'm not anti-Christian, but I hope these people learn to love their neighbors the way Christ, who they supposedly followed, did. I don't know what to call this. Whatever it is, it's not love. So, Lewis, you can comment on that, or you can just speak to a little bit more about the tenets of the Satanic Temple of West Michigan, because I know, that the Satanic Temple of West Michigan, it's not about Satan worship. You don't even believe in Satan, but it's something else. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so the starting with the comment real briefly, I posted that to kind of show the double standard that that not only our congregation but our two sister congregations that showed up in support of us, to stand with us in solidarity, to show the double standard that was happening amongst us. Is we came to do something that that wasn't supposed to be anything nefarious. It was just supposed to be, affirmational and in support of communities beyond the conservative Christian wing of Ottawa County. And so I was rather disappointed that a lot of people did go to actually see and hear the invocation being delivered. And these people essentially took that away from them because they were so uncomfortable and so against what we were doing without even knowing what I was actually saying. And they began to essentially, like you say, proselytize and Bible thump over everyone. And from what I hear is that no one there that wanted to hear the invocation had the opportunity to hear it at that time. And that was very upsetting to me because it did show that we did have some support within the community, and we had a small group of religious conservative, right wingers essentially try and take that away from some people in the name of, their loving Christ. And when I thought about that, I'm like, this, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing doesn't feel like the love that I was taught as a child that Jesus was known for. It wasn't showing love and compassion and acceptance. It was showing intolerance, hatred, fear, and those things. And so my comment was in response to the fact that I wasn't seeing the loving side of Christianity, especially when they frequently say, like, we aim or strive to be like Christ. Well, I did not see Christ there that day, and I'm sure there were some Christians there that were actually being courteous and actually may even have been there in support of us. I have got nothing against them or of Christianity in general, but people do need to realize that when you are representing your religious organization in public, it's very important to show what you stand for. And if the Christian church really does stand for compassion and love and acceptance, that was not shown that day. And so that was pretty much, what the whole comment there. Now, you had mentioned something else about, talking about, like the Satanic Temple and the seven tenets. You'll have to remind me
Yeah.
what you,
Yep. Yeah.
were
Yeah.
in
So
question.
I was. So what I think gets lost in all of this is a lack of understanding for what the Satanic Temple of West Michigan is. The operated assumption is that the invocation is to invoke the name of Satan, and I'm talking about for those, if we believe in the biblical narrative of Satan as a literal figure in opposition to God, who is the dark, who represents the darkness as opposed to the light, and is this figure, like, you are there to invocate that thing over the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners and do it in that name. But that is not true, correct?
So, correct. Correct in the sense that the Satanic Temple, when we invoke the name of Satan, we're not invoking a literal representation of Satan or the devil. When we invoke the name of Satan, Satan to us essentially is a metaphorical archetype that represents the universal opposer or eternal rebel toward arbitrary authority and tyranny that sets to impose, upon our personal sovereignties. And so when I superimpose that in reality, what we have is a lot of elected officials, both locally, statewide, and nationally, that would set to impose their interpretation of biblical scripture and religious philosophy over all Americans. And that is that is almost metaphorically like saying, okay, they're imposing God over everyone, whether you believe in God or not. They're imposing that over everyone through their elected positions. And the people that protest that kind of action from our local legislators are then often demonized as rebels, as counterculture. Uh we're turned into monsters. We're turned into these, rebels that just, again, like our, like the commissioner we discussed, that we're just a publicity stunt, and they try and paint people that don't fit their particular religious philosophy as people that are making the country worse, or trying to confuse and draw people away from the love of Christ. And that's not the intention. Our view of Satan is one that follows a different philosophy set forth by John Milton in his book Paradise Lost, and Anatole France in The Revolt of the Angels, where Satan is more of a complex figure, a literary, not literal, a literary figure that has both good and bad qualities. He essentially reflects humanity as we are. Every one of us, every single one of us, regardless of your religion, is capable of profound goodness and well-being, while at the same time we're also capable of tremendous harm and evil. And Satan was represented in such a way that, he wasn't necessarily an evil figure, just one that had a different idea of how the world, or how humanity should be organized and managed in reality. And so our whole viewpoint about, Satan, why we identify as Satanists, is personally speaking from my personal opinion here. I identify with the archetype of Satan. For me, he represents, again, that eternal rebel. And so when I look at my life in this society, I can be demonized as a Satanist for, putting my faith in the best scientific understanding of our times. And I have been demonized as a tool of Satan for that. But at the end of the day, like, my ideology, my philosophy on that is that if you're going to demonize as someone evil for standing up for what I believe in, for loving my country, loving my community, and fighting for those who are overlooked, if that makes me evil, if that makes me a tool of the devil, well then hell Satan. And that is the whole point, that, one way you could say it is that I've essentially adopted what so many people already thought of me, and I use that to essentially say that, like, you know what, even if I did believe in a literal Satan, if I did worship a literal devil and believed in magic and curses and all of this stuff that I actually don't believe in at all, why does it matter? Our Constitution grants us the right to do so, provided that we aren't breaking any constitutional laws, which, you know, a lot of people may want to project some of the worst intentions that humans have had upon us, but most of us here in the Satanic Temple, West Michigan, are actually very wholesome, accepting people that just want to provide a safe space for their friends, their families, their communities, and just be free to practice and believe whatever they want to believe. And Satan, the name of Satan, essentially represents that counterculture from traditional religion, to say that, you know what? Yes, we are adopting the idea of what so many people think of us, but in reality, we have a different philosophy as to what that means. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll finish up with this point. My values and my religious philosophy are no less valued in the court of public opinion, in the courts under our government, is no less valuable than the philosophy and the beliefs of the most conservative Christians in America. We are essentially the same. To say that their religious philosophy is the correct one and should be the only one represented is very hypocritical of what the freedom of religion and the freedom of speech in America actually means. And so, again, just tying it all back to the beginning, like Satan in the mythology, in the Christian mythology, was the one being that stood up to all the power in the universe to say, you may be all powerful, but you are not all good. And there are better ways of dealing with mankind than imposing strict punitive punishments on anyone that would turn their back on you. If you superimpose that in reality, we are the minority, us Satanists, and a lot of people that don't fit the traditional religious idea here in America. We are the minority standing up to all the powers of the world and saying, you may be powerful, you may have all these powers imbued to you, through your positions, but that doesn't make you all good. I can point to several times when people acted in bad faith and called that wholesome love or compassion. And, if that reflects, if that is what if you're telling me that you are essentially a servant of God and showing me that, well, then I have to imagine what kind of entity this imaginary God is. I apologize for my beeping here. Sorry.
That's the beeping of the smartphone or something device.
It's
hanging
an
around.
insulin pump. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and it's just mad at me because I have to refill it in about an hour with insulin.
Well, you don't let that go. Don't let that go. But
I have plenty of time.
friends, that is Reverend Louis Cypher, minister of Satan and co-head of the Satanic Temple of West Michigan and lifelong resident of Ottawa County, who gave the invocation at the April 23rd Ottawa County Board of Commissioners meeting. Louis, before I let you go, I have one super duper important question, and it's this. So, I'm keenly interested in how do I want to set this up? I'll just say it. So I'm keenly interested in selling my soul, getting rich, and joining the Illuminati. Can you, through the Satanic Temple of West Michigan, help me achieve these goals?
Sorry, it's not going to happen here.
Well, come on, the Illuminati.
I could probably point you towards some other satanic denominations that might have, that might claim to do that, but you're not going to find that within the Satanic Temple.
At least shoot one of those names out.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that, and for our listener, for context, that's one of the frequently asked questions on their website, and I was like, oh, that's a banger of a question. That's a great one. Louis, we really thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate you talking about the invocation and everything about the Satanic Temple. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciated the opportunity to talk with you guys regarding our congregation. And I just want to let everyone know that if you are interested in learning more or even want to meet a lot of our congregation members, we are often doing things in public. You can go to our Facebook site, on Discord, find the Satanic Temple West Michigan, and you'll find all of our onboarding material there to get you started.
Nice job, Louis. Good plug. I was going to plug you, but you got to it before I did. So thank you, friend. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Hail Satan, my friends.
You have a good one, Louis.
I never know what to say to that.
Hail Stan.
That's such a great question that they have on their website. It goes like, "Can I sell my soul, get rich, and join the Illuminati?" I know, Shawn, that you're trying to get rich, right? You got that book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yep. That's
yeah,
a great
we already
book.
discussed that.
That's a great book.
Mm-hmm.
I'd recommend it.
And how's that working out?
I'd recommend it to anybody. Well, that's more of a philosophy, not a this is how you get rich. It's a story of a gentleman who had kind of had not two fathers, but he had his actual dad who spent his whole life working and doing the grind. And then he had his buddy, and his dad was very successful in real estate and kind of showed him how to actually handle money in a proper fashion and buying assets opposed to buying, things you'll lose money on all the time type of deal. So it's on how to look at money and how to handle money, not really necessarily on how to make money.
Okay. Have you used that philosophy? Is that kind of, I mean, you bought that book. Are you using that?
I'd like to think so in certain fashions. Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
All right.
Have you been?
No, I don't have the book.
It's a great book. You should listen to it sometimes. Robert Kiyosaki's great.
All right. I'll put that on my books to-do list.
There you go.
All right, friends. We need to get out of here. We got another record coming up. So I'm going to land this plane. Hey, you should stay informed in 2024 with us. But we'd also love to hear from you. What did you think of our conversation with the Reverend Lewis Cypher? Was this help for you? Man, if I could just talk this morning. Words are hard. Who would you like for us to have on the program? Bad publicity. It's one of those.
Jeez, why is that
Sally's,
that such a... What is wrong with you?
That's a tongue twister. Sally sells
Sally sells
she sells
at the seashore. Rubber buggy baby bumpers.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Hey, be sure to leave your comments on our Facebook page under this podcast episode. Also, be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter at votecommongood-wm.org, where you'll sign up to receive podcast and event updates. Finally, follow us on our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, West Michigan, for joining this Common Good conversation. Till next time, be the common good in West Michigan.